A top WWE star is absent from WWE SummerSlam. There's surprise over how the Elite voted over their AEW versus WWE choice, and Drew McIntyre has shot down a possible heel turn. Stay tuned for all the deets. So it's been reported over the last couple of weeks that Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus had been pulled from WWE SummerSlam due to time constraints, and their match had been moved to WWE Raw on August 14th. PW Insider reported earlier this week that Becky Lynch would be in Detroit tonight for WWE SummerSlam. However, this is apparently not the case. Lynch posted on Twitter a photo of her 100% not in Detroit. It was very sunny.
It was sunny. There was
palm trees. There was opulence. There was a lot of stuff going on there that just didn't seem...
There was no cars.
There was no cars.
Sign of
there were
Detroit.
no buildings. It didn't really look like a city centre at all. That was the other thing.
She looked like she was on holiday.
Very much the ocean, I think. But essentially, Lynch posted the photo of her 100% not in Detroit, saying Detroit has more palm trees and ocean than I remember. This was followed by confirmation from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, as he said that Becky Lynch is not in Detroit and is not planned to be involved with SummerSlam at all. So
it's a big shock.
It is. It's sort of the fact that it was time constraints more than anything, but in a way, it's a good thing, right? Because at least we're not getting the 78-hour pay-per-views we used to get. But at the same time, Becky Trish?
That feels like a match
SummerSlam?
that, you should
versus
be...
Raw. I mean, people are going to tune in to watch it on Raw, which is good, but like,
that's the thing. You've got to look at the two sides of it. It's not a match that should be canned from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
It feels like a big deal. It feels like a big... eras clashing match that should be on SummerSlam, the show that they deem to be the second WrestleMania of the year.
It's WrestleMania, biggest party of the summer, and that, guys.
Exactly. It is a match that over the, Slim Jim Battle Royal, it should be on the card, but also it's a match that may have people tuning in at Raw over the Slim Jim Battle Royal, It really sucks that she's not going to be involved at SummerSlam in any way. I thought maybe, if they've got time constraints, they could do an angle, they could do something backstage where it's like, Trish Becky gets beat down so she can't compete tonight. But really, it just means that we're short of a match, and hopefully we're not going to get a slog of a show.
But then at the same time, this could be a Chris Jericho-esque, pulling the wool over our eyes. That photo could have been taken any time.
Could have been taken.
At any time.
That really could.
I'm just going to keep, and the aliens are going to turn up at SummerSlam. And then JFK is going to come back from the dead.
Wow. We have gone down the conspiracy rabbit hole just now. Maybe all that's going to happen, but you'll have to watch SummerSlam tonight. Maybe that was put in our pitches. Go and watch them on the channel.
Well, moving over to the other side of the fence, this sort of deals with AEW, looking for maybe somewhere to land all of their streamable content. In a recent interview with PW Insider, Tony Khan expressed his aspirations for AEW TV to find its way to HBO Max. He emphasized the substantial content library they've amassed, including 200 episodes of Dynamite, over 100 episodes of Rampage, and soon episode 8 of Collision. He believes that this content packages of such high value that it would benefit any streaming platform, but focuses on HBO, saying, I think it'd be a very strong addition to any streaming platform, and my dream is that it lands on Max. And I don't think it's very surprising, because HBO's got like a rich history with combat sports, and it's also just that stamp of approval, that stamp of quality. HBO, ever since its inception, as a broadcast, has always had that sort of extra quality premium feel. And I think being associated,
the Idol, at least.
But being associated with it as a brand is a good thing. I imagine that the financials will be substantial with HBO as well, and they really seem to care about content. Again, I know Game of Thrones season 8 I get it, but at the same time, they're maybe more likely to allow AEW to be AEW without jumping in too much, without kind of trying to influence. Not saying that TNT or TBS are doing that or anything at the minute, but you know what I mean? It's sort of, they're for the creators, HBO. They just kind of...
That's the thing as well, but also,
amass it.
I'm not surprised they maybe want it on Max, with Warner being, having the TV rights for it. They've got the TNT banner, they've got HBO, they've got Max. Max is Warner's big streaming thing, and Tony has referenced in the past AW Plus being a fantastic streaming deal, and it is on Fight TV. You get it's like £7 a month, and you get all of their stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to, in the future, move away from Bleacher Report and move to Max for your
I know. I tend to see a lot of people who use Bleacher Report for AEW pay-per-views to kind of always be the people that are having issues. It seems.
Yeah.
They seem to be a lot of complaints about that. But at the same time, I think there's no way that a future deal isn't incoming.
Yeah.
AEW seems to be really hot on licensing all of this stuff.
And it would boost Max, which in some people's eyes is not as good as what HBO Max was, because it's not got as much content that's as premium as what you were alluding to at the start. Max has gone a little bit downhill with stuff like you've lost Succession and Barry, and you've got The Idol now.
Yeah. Who doesn't love the Idol? But moving back over to WWE, speaking with Ariel Helwani of TNT Sports, Kevin Owens revealed why he re-signed with WWE over joining AEW. He said, "I had no idea how badly they wanted me to stay here. Once it was time to talk to Vince, he made it clear he wanted me to stay, and I feel like I wasn't done here. Not even career-wise, but there's a whole side to this place that people don't see, that people don't know. We've got an incredible crew, and I'm talking not the wrestlers, the production crew, the people behind the scenes. There are really amazing people here, and at the time I remember I can't imagine leaving and not seeing these people every week. Up the production crew.
Up the production
Get
crew,
in there,
right?
Kev.
You've worked as a production crew on a wrestling show, Do you feel appreciated? Do you feel loved?
I feel the love permeating through the ether of the universe from Kevin Owens toward all editing staff. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kevin. But it is cool that he's one of his big factors in his decision to stay with WWE was literally the team. Like you on the surface, people think obviously, the dream matchups, the people that he can work with.
Yeah.
But you forget that behind the curtain, there's a whole team of people that he's probably really good.
That's it. And
with.
we only really see them for maybe 2-3 hours a week, and maybe 20 minutes of that time, if that. So it's the type of thing where obviously that's the time where they're in front of the cameras, but there's got to be, how can you work somewhere and not forge relationships with all the people you're working with, right?
Exactly.
So it does make sense, and it's just a really nice reason why he kind of stayed.
It's the thing of being scared when you move to a different job, and being like, what if I don't fit in with them? What if I don't vibe with everyone? It was a smart choice for him to stay, and he got to main event at WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, which I mean is like an all-time moment.
It's pretty cool.
That's got to be like the number one dream match. But at the same time, it was one of those up in the air situations. Will he, won't he? But he's not alone in that, because there was a lot of talent on either side of the wrestling fence in America that were doing the old will they, won't they dance as well, wasn't there, Fraser?
Yes, a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter has given some more information on the Elite's decision to stay with AEW rather than leave for WWE. The complete flip reverse of that Kevin Owens story. It was reported that there was some back and forth on what the group should do, as they'd made a pact to stay together with a majority vote deciding their future. But Dave Meltzer has said you'd be surprised who voted where. Now, it was also mentioned that votes were said to have changed depending on the emotions of the group and kind of how they were being used at the time. But they eventually all agreed to re-sign with AEW, as that was what the majority vote said. The key thing, though, there is you'd be surprised who voted where. We know that that WWE wanted to use Kenny Omega as a top star.
Yeah.
We know that they had scrap plans for him, including in the likes of Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and see him as a big name.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he maybe thought,
the thing that would surprise me more, I don't know why it would surprise me more, but I'd be more surprised if it was the Bucks that were like, yeah, let's go.
Let's
it. Go, right? Come on. And Kenny's like,
I think the Bucks, having signed that historic tag team contract that was being discussed in the news yesterday, there's no chance.
Apparently, even eclipses Hall and Nash in '96, which is
is insane, absolutely insane. But yeah, it's just interesting that there was a little bit of back and forth between the Elite, whether they stay with AEW or go to WWE. Obviously, this could be. Well, Kenny would be 45 by the time this deal expires, so a lot of them are probably thinking, well, this might be one of the last big contracts.
The last long-term contracts, yeah. But I guess only time's going to tell. But very exciting time to be alive as a wrestling fan. But moving back over and closing things out today with some Drew McIntyre news. Now, during an interview on the Stay Busy podcast, McIntyre expressed his reservations about embracing a full heel turn unless it aligns perfectly with his character's development. McIntyre said he wants to make sure that he's getting interesting and compelling stories where people are emotionally invested. I do think that's where he's at his best, right?
Right, exactly.
It was just such a shame over lockdown that we had that really, big story to get invested in, but we couldn't physically be there to like share the moment, right?
That's the thing. It felt like a big moment that everyone needed to have this sort of release of Brock losing and Drew winning and the champion happening, and it just didn't feel like it connected.
No, he admitted that it was a period where, that was a period where he wasn't doing that he got back into it with the storylines with Sheamus and going into the the triple threat at WrestleMania, into the Triple H. Regarding a heel turn, he said, "I'm willing to go any direction that's interesting. People are calling for a heel turn, but I'm not willing to do that unless it makes perfect sense. We have a lot of equity in Drew McIntyre. I show up at the Special Olympics and I see the effect WWE and McIntyre has on people, and I can understand Cena's perspective of not turning."
It's one that I think a lot of people have been wanting. People want a heel Drew McIntyre, this vicious, because we've seen him in the independent scene, but between
just
2017, and he was destroying
He's a
everyone.
monster.
And he's a big guy. He's got a scary look. It's bringing the hair forward.
Yeah.
And so it drapes over his face. He looks terrifying. He's a big guy. He looks like he could tear the house down.
I remember meeting him. It was like, of course he's massively tall because he's a wrestler, and he's a former WWE wrestler, but it was how wide Drew is. He's obviously hench, but he's like as wide as two fridges sellotape together. He's really intimidating, and I think people would love for him to go heel, but I do think he's right. You can't, when you just do the flip flop, oh, I'm bad now, like I've lost too many matches, I'm going off on it, and it is kind of like a blind heel turn of we'll work something out. I think when you're somebody the size of Drew, being a former champion, you maybe need that reassurance that it is going somewhere, that it is going to result in X, Y, and Z matches, that it's going to help elevate X, Y, and Z talent, that it's going to maybe do a double turn with somebody else. There's so many things he could do with it that it doesn't really make sense to just waste it. I do see what he means.
The best Drew McIntyre character in WWE for me has been running up to that
three-man band.
Three-man band, of course, the VLC, but running up to Rumble 2020 was the best Drew, and he was a face, but also it was like, you're a badass. Then he starts carrying around a sword. And it was just, he's Scottish.
Yeah, I mean, like every now and then, carrying out a sword for a special entrance would have looked amazing. But it was sort of like, the more he used it, the more I was like, why aren't you just chopping people, Drew? Just get in there.
Of course, it could all be a swerve. Making us think that he's not going to turn heel, and then he eventually does. Who knows?
Maybe.
But right now, he looks like he shot it down.
Yeah, so stick with us. We've got SummerSlam live reactions tonight right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/Cultaholic/live.
Did it.
I believe the room is already there waiting. Get in the chat. Leave some messages for them to have a look at later on as they start. We've got obviously the podcast up. We've got pictures up. We've got everything else in and around it. There's going to be what happened at. There's going to be WTF. There's going to be everything
more news
that we would usually be putting out on top of it. I know obviously more news and everything else, but keep it with us. Have a good SummerSlam. If you're in the UK, try and stay dry, I guess. It's just really wet out there. Bye.